Hey there! Let's jump right into this explainer and take a walk through an incredible garden today. We're going to uncover some, well, 100-year-old secrets about building a beautiful character. Imagine stepping outside on a super warm, sunny day, surrounded by the most amazing colors and shapes you've ever seen. Today, we're looking at some fantastic writings that compare our lives and how we grow as people to a garden planted by a master artist. Get ready, because we're going to learn how to grow into the absolute best version of ourselves.
Think about this for a second. Have you ever actually looked closely at a tiny flower or even a little weed? I mean, when we're running around outside playing tag or whatever, it's so easy to just step right over the grass and ignore the little weeds popping up near the sidewalk. But if you stop, get down on your hands and knees, and really look closely, you start to see these incredible little lines, tiny leaves, and perfect little shapes. There is literally a whole world of design right there under our sneakers.
Okay. Section 1, the great master artist, zooming in on the details.
We're starting our journey by looking through a magnifying glass at the work of this great master artist. Just like a painter uses a brush, our creator uses nature to show off some truly spectacular artwork. This brings us to a classic quote that says, "Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They toil not, neither do they spin, and yet I say unto you that even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these." Basically, this brilliantly shows us that flowers don't stress out or work hard, yet they're dressed better than ancient kings. King Solomon was famous for having the richest, most dazzling clothes in the entire ancient world. But look at the wild lilies. They don't do chores, they don't have sewing machines, they don't worry about what they're going to wear tomorrow. And yet, the master artist designed them so perfectly that even a king's best outfit looks kind of boring next to them.
It is genuinely amazing to think about this contrast. On one hand, you have a tiny, simple flower, a plant without a soul. And on the other hand, you have massive, burning stars spinning out in outer space. The wild thing the source text points out is that the creator expends just as much time, care, and wisdom penciling those delicate, colorful little lines on a tinted rose petal as he does creating giant galaxies. To the master artist, the smallest detail on a tiny petal gets the exact same VIP treatment as a massive star.
So, why does this matter? Well, by pointing out the beautiful tints and shades of a simple flower, God is actually showing his immense love for every single human being. Seriously, if the master artist spends that much time perfectly coloring a tiny plant that might only live for a few days, can you imagine how incredibly important you are? You are his ultimate masterpiece. Every single detail about you was crafted with even more love and care than the most beautiful flower in the entire world.
Which leads us to Section 2, tending the garden. We are the plants and the gardeners. Now that we know how much the master artist loves us, the text teaches us that we actually have a job to do. We aren't just the plants growing in the garden, we also get to be the gardeners. The text gives us specific instructions for tending delicate plants, which perfectly compares to how we should act every single day. Step 1 is to take away useless offshoots. Maybe that means ditching bad habits like complaining or being unkind. Step 2 is to carefully bind up bruised parts. Think about when a friend at school or the playground is feeling bruised on the inside. Maybe they're sad or having a really hard time. We're supposed to step in and help heal them. And Step 3, give support to the weaklings. If someone is struggling with their math homework or feeling left out at recess, we need to be the one standing right next to them, holding them up.
The text actually calls this exact idea fostering care, which is basically providing tender support and strength to those who are weak in faith, and binding them to stronger purposes. Just like tying a drooping, weak tomato stem to a sturdy wooden stick so it can grow tall and strong, we are called to give this fostering care to the weaklings in the Lord's garden. When someone around you feels weak, your strong purpose and your kindness can literally be the sturdy stick they lean on until they're strong again. It's just a wonderful way to help the garden grow.
Section 3, room for every flower. The wide shot of the garden.
So, we've zoomed in close to see the details and how to care for individual plants. But what does the whole garden look like from above? Well, we quickly see that blossoms are not the same in form or color. Some possess healing virtues, some are always fragrant, and each has a totally unique purpose. Look around your classroom or your neighborhood. From this incredible, endless variety of plants, we learn the super important lesson that everyone has completely different gifts and jobs. The text mentions some plants have healing virtues, like aloe vera that fixes a sunburn, while others just smell amazing all the time. Everyone you meet has a completely unique purpose, a different way of helping, and a totally different way of shining.
And this brilliantly illustrates a big problem we sometimes run into. Man's plan often looks like professing Christians who think it's their duty to make every other Christian act, look, and think exactly like themselves. Trying to make everyone identical is just a boring human idea. Can you imagine a garden with only one kind of gray flower? No way. But God's plan, that's a spiritual church filled with characters as wonderfully varied as a garden. His actual plan thrives on incredible diversity. He wants us to be wonderfully varied.
The absolute biggest takeaway here is that in God's garden, there is room for everyone. No matter your shape, your color, your background, or what your specific talents are, there is a special, needed place for your unique character. If you're a quiet, thoughtful person, the garden needs you. If you're loud, energetic, and love to lead, the garden needs you. God didn't make a mistake when He made you exactly the way you are.
Section 4, the sweet smell of cheer.
Closing our eyes to experience the garden.
For our final stop, imagine closing your eyes in that garden. You don't just see the colors, you experience the amazing scents. It makes you wonder, if the Lord gives a flower its beautiful scent, what kind of invisible fragrance does He want to give you? The author really challenges us to think about the fragrance we bring into our own life work and how we affect the people around us. If the master artist can make a tiny flower smell like sweet vanilla or fresh strawberries, he can for sure give us an invisible fragrance too. When you walk into a room, how do people feel? What kind of smell does your attitude leave behind?
Well, spoiler alert, it's the fragrance of a cheerful disposition. The absolute best scent you can bring to the world isn't fancy perfume or cologne, it's the invisible fragrance of a cheerful, happy attitude. The text tells us that the Lord wants to give us a cheerful disposition. That means waking up and actually deciding to be joyful. It means smiling at people, looking on the bright side, and bringing really good energy to your school and your family.
That cheerful attitude literally floats through the air and makes everyone around you feel better, just like the sweet smell of a blooming rose. So as we wrap up this explainer, I've got to ask, what kind of fragrance are you bringing to the garden today? Are you bringing the sweet smell of cheerfulness or the sour smell of complaining? Remember, you are a masterfully created piece of art, perfectly loved by the Creator, and you have the amazing power to tend to the beautiful garden of people all around you. So, what kind of seed will you plant next?